Welcome to MojoPlays. Today, we're looking at the rarest items in every single Souls game. Be warned, there may be spoilers ahead.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Pure Bladestone, Demon Souls. From Software's first Souls game didn't manage to perfect the formula. However, it was still a well-received game and paved the way for the genre. It still featured some basic RPG mechanics like upgrading your weapons. For sharp weapons, you'll need to collect Bladestone ore. This only gets the item up to +4 tier. To get them to +5, which is the max level, you'll need a Pure Bladestone. Its drop rate is frustratingly low, and it's only dropped by black skeletons. On average, it's got a 0.5% drop rate. If you're hoping to farm it, max out your rare item drop. Otherwise, it could take you hours. Black World Tendency is responsible for this statistic. Since sharp weapons are best for a dexterity build, it's certainly worth the grind, given that dexterity is generally the most overpowered stat. Symbol of Avarice, Dark Souls. The first Dark Souls game has its fair share of rare items and enemies. For example, the Vagrants are the rarest enemies in any Souls game. They spawn in response to lost bloodstains or items, and will spawn in another player's world. They have a good and evil variation, with the evil one hopping between worlds if a player can't beat it. Of all the hard-to-get items, we believe the Symbol of Avarice takes the top spot. It has a 0.1% drop rate from Mimic Chest, a non-respawning enemy. There are also only 4 mimics in the game, so you can't farm it like other items. One way you can cheese it is by using the Lloyd's Talisman to put them to sleep, letting you grab an item. Thankfully, killing all 4 mimics guarantees the drop, but they're spread across the entire game. Pickaxe, Dark Souls 2. This might be the most controversial Souls game, given it's the only one Miyazaki didn't direct. Its rarest item is easily the pickaxe. This is because how you acquire it is so completely random that it makes no sense how anyone even discovered it in the first place. To get it, you've gotta find a pig at the Royal Army campsite bonfire, then lure it through Brightstone Cove Seldora all the way to the end of the level. Your goal is the room with hidden ceiling spiders, which has a patch of mushrooms on the ground. Now, simply watch the pig gobble up the mushrooms and you'll be given your prize, a pickaxe. It's not particularly difficult to acquire if you know how, but without someone telling you, how would anyone find this? It's a complete mystery how anyone found it in the first place. Ring of Betrothal, Bloodborne. This is one of From Software's 2 most unique Souls games, which includes chalice dungeons for players to enjoy. These are randomly generated dungeons featuring random bosses and loot. Their difficulty scales with depth, with 5 being the hardest. If you're looking to get the Ring of Betrothal, this is where you'll need to be. It's got an exceptionally low drop rate, and the chalice dungeons are entirely optional, making it one of the game's most obscure items. Is it worth finding though? Well, all it can be used for is proposing to Annalise, ruler of the Vile Bloods. This will give you some special dialogue where the queen politely refuses your offer. Other than this, it doesn't really do anything. The chalice dungeons are still great fun, and their final boss Yharnam through Marion Queen drops the rare Yharnam Stone, which surprisingly does even less than the ring. Eleonora, Dark Souls 3. Next on the list, we have the mighty axe Eleonora. It drops from only one enemy, the first monstrosity of sin to aggro you in the profaned capital. These foes are powerful, able to one-hit you and even swallow you whole. It's quite niche, usually needing someone else to tell you how to get it. Hence, many players will never encounter it in their playthrough. While other weapons have low drop rates, on a blind playthrough, this might be the hardest. It has decent damage, but poor scaling. On the bright side, it has a larger range than most axes, making it an excellent choice for crowd control. Another rare item worth mentioning is the Proof of a Concord Kept, which can take hours of farming to obtain, being only acquired through PvP or from Silver Knights with a 1% drop rate. Tengu Skin. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Many believe Sekiro features From Software's best-designed combat system. It's also their most unique game, straying from the standard Souls-like RPG mechanics. While there are crafting materials to find that can upgrade your shinobi prosthetic, it has the fewest collectibles in a Souls game. Regardless of this, it includes some particularly tough-to-acquire skins. These 3 outfits were added in its free update. While the Flaming Shura skin is easily the best-looking one, the Tengu skin is the hardest to acquire. To unlock it, you must complete the Severance Gauntlet of Strength. It's essentially a boss rush, pitting you against the game's 5 hardest bosses: Guardian Ape, Great Shinobi Owl, Corrupted Monk, Genichiro Way of the Moi, and finally, Inner Ishin. Ishin is infamous for his difficulty, but Inner Ishin is a whole new level of pain, making it undoubtedly the hardest item to acquire. Penetrator Armor Set. Demon Souls Remake. To the surprise of many fans, the Demon Souls remake includes an item even rarer than the Pure Bladestone. It sounds pretty simple to get. Just give Sparkly the Crow 26 ceramic coins in return for a rusted key. This will let you open a hidden door, letting you take the armor. The main difficulty comes from finding 26 ceramic coins. In the game, players have found a total of 13, and they're all hidden in breakable items, so it requires 2 playthroughs to unlock and is mainly cosmetic. It's the armor worn by Penetrator, a particularly epic boss from the game. His sword can also be found with much less difficulty, letting you complete the Penetrator look. Wearing it is a badge of honor, essentially serving as a status symbol for the most hardcore Demon Souls enjoyers, making it more than worth the grind for some. Haligtree Crest Greatshield. Elden Ring. From Software's largest game has its fair share of low drop rate items. While some have rates as low as 0.5%, the rarest item drops 4% of the time. At first glance, you'd expect there to be loads of rarer items. However, this shield is special. It's only dropped from one specific Haligtree Knight who hangs about outside a church near Elfale. Other knights appear to carry the shield, but they won't drop it. So, is there anything special about it other than its rarity? Well, it has the highest holy resistance in the game. If you're struggling with the final boss, try this. It'll make them an absolute breeze. It has room for an Ashes of War as well if you feel like infusing it. It's also one of the game's best looking shields, pairing wonderfully with a paladin aesthetic. Which item was the hardest for you to obtain? Let us know in the comments below.